Hello, and welcome. The image of falconry is a breathtaking moment of action, the swift, silent dive of the hawk, the thrill of the hunt. But the life of the falconer was not a life of moments. It was a slow, quiet, and devoted craft, a daily ritual of care, patience, and a profound, silent partnership between man and bird. Before we enter the quiet world of the muse, if you enjoy what we do here, please take a moment to like and subscribe. I'd also love to know where you're listening from tonight. Now, dim the lights, find your most comfortable position, and let's begin our story. Our story begins in the year of our Lord 1285, in the deep, blue-gray darkness before the dawn. In the great stone castle of an English duke, the world is still and silent, wrapped in a cold autumnal mist. But in a quiet, secluded building at the edge of the castle grounds, one man's day has already begun. You are Alaric, the duke's master falconer. Your life is not governed by the castle's bell or the rising of the sun. It is governed by the needs of the magnificent creatures in your care. You enter the mews, your footsteps silent on the clean, straw-strewn floor. The mews is not a simple cage. It is the palace of your birds. It is a long, airy, and meticulously clean timber building. The air inside does not smell foul, but carries a unique, dry, slightly musky scent of birds, of dry wood, and of the leather from their equipment. In the dim light of the single lantern you carry, you can see the silent, hooded forms of a dozen birds of prey, perched like feathered statues on their individual blocks. There are goshawks, sparrowhawks, and merlins, but your attention is for your most prized charges, the peregrine falcons. You approach the perch of Lyra, your finest hunting falcon, a female peregrine of exquisite beauty and power. She is the star of the Duke's hawking expeditions, a creature of immense value, worth more than a fine horse. In the darkness, you can hear the soft metallic jingle of the tiny brass bells, the buets. Attached to her legs as she shifts her weight, sensing your presence, you speak to her in a low, soft, and soothing voice. The same voice you have used with her every morning since she was a young ayuz, a chick taken from the nest. Your first act of the day is a careful visual inspection. You look for any signs of distress, any ruffled feathers, any signs of the sickness that can so quickly claim a valuable bird. She is calm, still under the soothing darkness of her leather hood. Then comes the most crucial ritual of your entire day, the foundation upon which the art of falconry is built, the weighing. From a wooden peg on the wall, you take down a small, delicate, and very precise set of brass scales. On one arm hangs a small padded perch. On the other is a tray for the tiny lead weights. Falconry is a science of weight, and you, the falconer, are a master of its delicate and ever-changing calculations. With a slow, practiced, and gentle movement, you offer your gloved fist to the falcon. She steps onto it without hesitation, her sharp talons gripping the thick leather. You can feel her weight, a familiar and reassuring presence on your arm. You then transfer her to the small perch on the scales. You watch the needle of the scale with an intense, unwavering focus. You know Lyra's perfect hunting weight, her flying weight, to the fraction of an ounce. It is the weight at which she is healthy and strong, but also just hungry enough to be keen, to have the desire to fly and to hunt for you. If she is too heavy, if her crop is still full from yesterday's meal, she will be lazy, unresponsive, and will have no incentive to return to your fist. If she is too light, she is in danger of weakness. of losing the strength she needs for the powerful, high-speed flight of the hunt. This morning, the scale balances perfectly. Her weight is exact. A quiet, professional satisfaction fills you. It means you managed her feeding yesterday with perfect judgment. She is in her prime, and she is ready. You place her back on her perch and you move down the line, weighing each of the other hunting birds in turn, making a mental note of each one's condition. A goshawk is a little heavy. He'll receive a smaller ration today. Young Merlin is a little light. He must be fed a little more. Your entire day, the schedule of training, of flying, and of hunting is determined by these small, crucial numbers revealed by the morning's win. With the weighing complete, the next task is the cleaning of the mews. You and your assistants work with a quiet efficiency. The straw on the floor is swept out and replaced. The perches are scrubbed clean. You meticulously inspect the mutes, the bird's droppings. They are a clear and honest indicator of a bird's health, and you examine their color and consistency with a physician's analytical eye, searching for any sign of sickness. As the first pale rays of the dawn begin to filter through the high windows of the mews, the first phase of your day is complete. The birds have been inspected, weighed, and their home has been made clean. You have taken the measure of your charges, and you have found them ready. The deep, quiet, and intimate work of the mews at dawn is over. Now, as the rest of the castle begins to stir, the work of training and of keeping these wild, noble predators in a perfect state of athletic and psychological readiness is about to begin. With the weighing and cleaning complete, the first, most intimate part of your day is over. Now, you prepare the bird for its first interaction with the world outside the mews. This is a process of dressing the hawk in its furniture, the collection of leather straps and bells that are the tools of your craft. First, you check the jesses. These are two soft but strong leather straps that are fitted around each of the falcon's powerful yellow legs. They are a permanent part of her attire, and you inspect them daily for any signs of wear or weakness. A broken jess can mean a lost hawk, an unthinkable disaster. Attached to the jesses are the buots, a smaller, thinner set of straps that hold the falcon's bells. The bells are tiny, exquisite objects of brass or silver, each one crafted to produce a slightly different, high-pitched and clear musical tone. Their purpose is a practical one, to allow you to hear your falcon, to track her movements through the sky, even when she is a tiny, distant speck against the clouds, or when she has brought down her prey in the long grass. Finally, you take up the most important and the most symbolic piece of falconry equipment, the hood. It is a small, perfectly fitted helmet of soft, dark leather, often decorated with a small plume of feathers. Its function is to cover the falcon's eyes, to plunge her into a state of calm, sensory deprivation. A hawk's vision is its most powerful and most stimulating sense. To control the vision is to control the hawk's state of mind. The hood is your tool for switching her from a state of calm rest to one of keen hunting alertness. You have spent weeks, when she was a young bird, patiently training her to accept the hood, to associate it not with fear, but with peace. Now, with a single, smooth, and practiced motion, you slip the hood over her head and gently tighten the leather braces. She is calm, her body relaxed. The world of sight has been taken from her, and she now exists in a quiet world of sound and of the familiar, reassuring presence of your hand. You don your own most important piece of equipment, the gauntlet. It is a thick, heavy glove of tanned deerskin, its leather dark and stained from the grip of 100 different birds. It covers your entire left hand and forearm, a necessary shield against the incredible bone-crushing power of the falcon's talons. With the falcon now hooded and calm, you offer her your gloved fist. She steps onto it, her grip firm and confident. Now begins the next crucial part of her daily routine, and of your own, the practice of manning. You leave the quiet of the mews and step out into the bustling courtyard of the waking castle. Your purpose for the next hour is not to hunt, not to fly her, but simply to walk. You carry her on your fist, and you walk. This is the slow, patient, and essential process of accustoming the wild. Noble predator to the chaotic, noisy, and clumsy world of men. It is an act of desensitization, of teaching the bird that the strange sounds and sights of the human world are not a threat. You walk through the castle, Bailey. You pass by the blacksmith's forge, and the falcon, who cannot see, hears the sudden, loud, and ringing clang of the hammer on the anvil. You feel her talons tighten for a split second on your glove, a brief, reflexive jolt of fear. You speak to her, your voice a low, continuous, and soothing murmur, a sound she has known her entire life. You reassure her. The grip of her talons softens. The sound is not a threat. It is just a part of your world, and therefore a part of hers. You walk past the kennels, and the Duke's hunting hounds begin to bark, a loud, chaotic chorus. Again, you feel the bird tense, and again, your quiet, steady voice, and the simple, solid presence of your fist reassures her. You pass by a group of stable hands, their voices loud as they share a morning joke. You pass by a cart, its wooden wheels groaning under a heavy load. With each new sound, each new smell, you are teaching her. You are her anchor, her still point in a turning, confusing world. Your entire attention is focused on her. You are engaged in a silent, constant conversation, a dialogue conducted not with words, but through the subtle shifts in the pressure of her grip on your glove. You can feel her every mood, her moments of anxiety, her moments of curiosity, her moments of curiosity, her moments of calm acceptance. During this slow, meditative walk, you perform a few small acts of training. You reach into the hawking bag at your belt, and you produce a tiny, pre-cut tidbit of meat, a piece of quail no larger than your thumbnail. You hold it between the thumb and forefinger of your gloved hand, and you make a soft clucking sound with your tongue. The falcon, hearing the familiar sound, turns her hooded head towards you. She gently, delicately takes the piece of meat from your fingers with her sharp, hooked beak. It is a small act of trust, a reinforcement of the bond between you, a reminder that you are the source of her food and her comfort. You also practice with the hood. With your free hand, you slowly and gently loosen the braces, and with a single smooth motion, you slip the hood from her head. For a brief moment, her great, dark, and incredibly powerful eyes are revealed. They take in the world in a single, swift, and intelligent glance, for she has a chance to become agitated or debate, to try to fly from the fist you have already. With the same smooth motion, replace the hood, plunging her back into her familiar, calming darkness. You do this several times until the act of unhooting and hooting is a calm and unremarkable event for her. After an hour of this slow, patient, and quiet work, the morning's manning session is complete. You have reinforced your bond. You have made the hawk a quiet participant in the life of the castle. You have prepared her mind. You now return to the mews and place her back on her perch, where she will rest in the hooded quiet, digesting her small meal and waiting for the more active and exciting work of the afternoon, with your prized falcon Lyra, now resting peacefully on her perch. The first phase of the day's interactive work is complete, but a falconer's duties are endless, a constant, quiet stream of tasks that ensure the health of his birds and the integrity of his equipment. The hours between the morning manning and the midday meal are dedicated to the patient solitary craft of maintenance. You go to a small, well-lit corner of the mews that serves as your workshop. The air here smells of leather, of beeswax, and of the oil you use to keep the leather soft and supple. On the wall, arranged with a neat and practiced order, are the tools of your other trade, the trade of a leather worker. There are sharp, crescent-shaped knives, iron awls for punching holes, fine needles, and spools of strong waxed linen thread. The equipment of falconry is under a constant strain, and a single frayed jess or a broken strap can mean the loss of a priceless bird. Your work here is as vital as any other. Today you have noticed that one of the jesses on a younger bird is showing signs of wear. You take a piece of fine, strong deerskin, a leather that has been tanned to an almost buttery softness, so that it will not chafe the hawk's powerful leg. With a sharp knife, you cut two perfectly uniform thin straps. You then use a small, pointed awl to punch the necessary slits into the leather, your movements precise and economical. You run a small, polished piece of bone along the edges of the straps, a process called bewelling, which smooths and rounds the sharp cut edges, ensuring there is nothing that could irritate the bird's skin. The work is quiet, focused, and deeply meditative. Your greatest skill in this craft is in the making of hoods. Each hood must be a perfect custom-fit helmet for an individual bird, blocking out all light without touching its sensitive eyes or interfering with its breathing. You are working on a new hood for a young goshawk. You take the pieces of molded, hardened leather, and with a fine needle and wax thread, you begin to stitch them together. Stitches are tiny, strong, and almost invisible. It is the work of a master craftsman, a form of soft leather sculpture. While you are engaged in this quiet work, a young page from the Duke's household enters the mews, his movements hesitant and respectful in this quiet, almost sacred space. He brings a message from the master of the hunt. His Grace the Duke desires to hunt for heron at the river meadows this afternoon, the page says. He asks if the falcon, Lyra, is in good condition to fly. The question is a formality, but it is an important one. It is a sign of the deep respect in which you and your judgment are held. The Duke, a powerful and impatient man, will alter his entire day's plan based on your assessment of a single bird's health and readiness. She is at her perfect flying weight. You reply, your voice a quiet statement of professional confidence. She is keen and the wind is fair. Tell the master of the hunt that we will be ready. The page bows and departs. The plan for the day is set. Your final preparations are for the hunt itself. You inspect the lure, the crucial tool for retrieving the hawk from a long flight. It is a padded horseshoe of leather, decorated with the dried wings of a pigeon to make it look like a bird in flight. Check the long leather cord the creance, ensuring it is not frayed or weakened. Then, you prepare the food that will be the bird's reward. With a small, sharp knife, you cut a piece of fresh quail meat. The tidbits you used for the morning's manning were tiny, a mere taste to reinforce a behavior. The reward for a successful hunt must be more substantial, a satisfying meal that the hawk will gladly return to your fist for. You wrap this prepared meat in a clean linen cloth and place it carefully inside your hawking bag. The morning's work of preparation is now complete. The birds are calm and at their perfect weight. The equipment is mended and in good order. The plan for the afternoon's great hunt has been confirmed. You leave the quiet of the mews for your own simple midday meal in the castle's great hall, a brief respite before the dynamic and exciting work of the afternoon. The dawn rituals are over. The forge of the falconer's craft is now at its perfect heat, ready for the great dance of the sky that is to come. The midday meal is over. The sun is at its highest point in the sky, a pale white disk in the autumn air. The morning has been a long, quiet, and meticulous process of preparation. Now, with the hawk, Lyra, rested and at her perfect hunting weight, the time for the more active and dynamic part of her training begins. This is the work of the lure. You, Alaric, return to the mews. The quiet, ordered space is filled with the soft, dappled light of midday. You approach Lyra's perch and speak to her in a low, calm voice. You offer your gloved fist, and she steps onto it with the easy familiarity of 1,000 repetitions. You do not hoot her yet. Her eyes, dark, intelligent, and incredibly sharp, watch your every move. You walk from the mews out into a wide open meadow that lies just beyond the castle walls. This is your training ground. The space is essential. A peregrine falcon is a creature of the open sky, and she needs room for her spectacular high-speed flight. In your hawking bag, you carry the lure. It is a simple object, a horseshoe-shaped piece of leather, padded with horsehair, and decorated with the dried wings of a pigeon. Attached to it is a long, strong, and supple leather cord. To your hawk, this object is the center of her world. It is her practice, her reward, and the ultimate symbol of her partnership with you. You arrive at the center of the field. You gently unhood Lyra. For a moment, she sits on your fist, her head turning with quick, sharp movements, her incredible eyes taking in the entire landscape. From the blades of grass at your feet to the distant, circling crows 1,000 feet above, then with a slight upward motion of your fist, you cast her into the air. With a single powerful downstroke of her long pointed wings, she is airborne. She does not fly away. She begins to climb, her wing beats strong and steady, her body an elegant feathered arrow ascending into the sky. She climbs in a great circling spiral, higher and higher, until she is just a small dark speck against the pale blue of the sky. She is waiting on, a term for this circling, hovering flight, as she waits for you, her partner on the ground, to present the prey. Now your work begins. You take the lure and you begin to swing it on its long cord, whirling it around your head in a wide, steady circle. The lure, with its feathered wings, mimics the flight of a bird. High above, Lyra sees this movement. Her circling stops. Her body, which was a moment ago a graceful, soaring shape, now transforms into a weapon. She tilts, rolls over in the air, and begins her dive. It is called the stoop, and it is one of the most breathtaking spectacles in the natural world. She is the fastest animal on Earth, and in her dive, she achieves speeds of over 200 miles per hour. She is no longer flying, she is falling, a living teardrop of feathered death. The sound of her descent is a low, tearing roar. The sound of the wind being ripped apart by her streamlined body and her slicing wings. Your own role in this dance is one of precision and timing. You watch her descent, judging her speed and her angle. Your goal is not to let her catch the lure, not yet. Your goal is to test her, to build her strength and her agility. Just as she is about to strike a blur of feathers and talons, you swing the lure out of the way. She misses, her momentum carrying her past you with a sound like a bolt of silk being torn in two. She must then, with an incredible display of power, pull out of her dive and begin the long, arduous climb back up to her waiting position in the sky. This process is repeated several times. You swing the lure. She stoops. You pull it away. She climbs again. It is a grueling workout for the falcon, a way of building the powerful flight muscles she will need for the real hunt. Finally, after a half-dozen passes, you decide it is time for her reward. As she begins her final magnificent stoop, you do not pull the lure away. You swing it high and then let the cord go slack. She strikes it in midair, her great yellow talons binding to the leather with an incredible vice-like grip. She does not kill it. She knows it is not real prey. She simply claims it as her own and carries it with its trailing cord to the ground a short distance away. She lands on the grass, her prize held firmly beneath her feet. She stands over it, a proud and possessive figure, her wings slightly mantled, her fierce eyes daring the world to try and take her prize. Now comes the final, crucial act of trust in this partnership. You approach her slowly, your voice a low, soothing murmur. You kneel beside her. You do not try to take the lure from her. Instead, from your hawking bag, you take the small piece of fresh quail meat that you prepared this morning. Place this tidbit directly onto the lure, between her feet. This is the reward. This is the heart of your bargain with this wild creature. She has performed the task you asked of her, and in return you provide her with food. She begins to eat, tearing at the small piece of meat with her sharp, hooked beak. While she is thus distracted, you gently, carefully reach down and gather the jesses in your gloved hand, securing her once more. When she has finished her small meal, you offer her your fist. She steps up onto it, calm and sated. The training is over. Her muscles are warm and powerful. Her mind is sharp and focused on the hunt. And her partnership with you has been reaffirmed. You gently replace her hood, and the world of sight is once more replaced by a quiet, calming darkness. You walk back towards the mews, the falcon alight, familiar weight on your arm, her training for the day complete. You walk back from the open meadow, the hooded falcon Lyra, now a calm and familiar weight on your gloved fist. The training with the lure is complete. Her body is warmed, her muscles are primed, and her mind is now keenly focused on the prospect of a real hunt. We have whetted her appetite for the chase. You return her to the cool, quiet semi-darkness of the mews. You place her on her perch, where she will now rest. Digesting the small tidbit you gave her, her body conserving its energy for the great exertion that is to come in the afternoon. The hood keeps her in a state of serene and patient stillness. With the birds all settled, it is now time for your own midday meal. You make your way from the quiet, specialized world of the mews to the great, noisy, and bustling heart of the castle, the great hall. The hall at midday is a hive of activity. Servants are clearing away the remnants of the morning meal, and the long, heavy trestle tables are being set for the afternoon. You do not sit at the high table, the dais, which is reserved for the Duke, his family, and his most noble guests. Your place is at a table just below, a table for the senior members of the Duke's household. Your companions are men like yourself, masters of their own specific crafts. The master of the hunt, his face weathered from a lifetime spent outdoors, the master of the horse, who can tell a horse's lineage with a single glance, and the castle's steward, a man who holds the keys to all the great storehouses and granaries. You are a servant, but you are a man of high status, a respected professional whose unique and mysterious skill is a source of great prestige for your lord. The conversation at your table is quiet, practical, and focused. The master of the hunt confirms the plan for the afternoon. The wind is coming from the west, he says. We will work the river meadows upstream. The herons were seen there at dawn. You nod, your mind already visualizing the landscape, the flow of the river, the way the wind will affect your falcon's flight. Your meal is a simple but substantial one. A thick slice of dark bread. It's a large piece of a hard, salty cheese, a slab of cold roasted pork, and a tankard of strong dark ale. You eat quickly and with purpose. This is the fuel you will need for a long and active afternoon on horseback. After the meal, you have one final partner to visit. You make your way to the castle's kennels. The air here is thick with the smell of dogs, of straw, and of meat. But the dogs you have come to see are not the great heavy hounds used for hunting boar and deer. Your partners in the hunt are a specialized breed of water spaniel, their coats thick and curly to protect them from the cold river water. They are intelligent, highly trained animals, and their job is as important as your own. You greet the burner, the dog handler, and together you inspect the small pack of dogs that will be joining you. They know you, and they whine with an excited, expectant energy, their tails thumping against the kennel walls. Their job today will be to move through the tall reeds and the shallow waters of the riverbank, to flush the herons, to force them into the air where your falcon can see them. The success of the hunt depends on a perfect symbiotic partnership between you, your hawk, and these intelligent, energetic dogs. As the afternoon begins, a new, more refined energy of preparation fills the castle courtyard. Grooms are bringing out the horses, their coats brushed to a fine sheen, their saddles and bridles of fine, polished leather. These are not the great, heavy war horses of the knights, but lighter, more agile palfreys, bred for speed and endurance, perfect for a long afternoon's ride across the open meadows. You are given your own horse, a steady and reliable mount that you know well. You mount, and you are handed your hawk. You place Lyra, still hooded and calm, on your gloved fist. The jesses looped securely around your fingers. Soon the Duke himself and his party of noble guests emerge from the keep. They are dressed in fine, colorful riding clothes, their mood light and festive. For them, this is a sport, a pleasurable and fashionable way to spend an afternoon. The ladies of the court are here as well, riding their own gentle mares. Their laughter are bright, melodic sound in the crisp autumn air. For you, this is not a sport. It is the final public examination of your life's work. The health of your bird, the quality of its training, its success or failure in the hunt, all of it is a direct reflection of your own skill, your own dedication, your own art. The entire hunting party is now assembled. The nobles are on their fine horses, their chatter and laughter filling the courtyard. The dog handlers have their spaniels on leashes, the dogs quivering with a barely contained excitement. And you, Alaric, the master falconer, sit on your horse, a silent, focused figure at the center of it all. The hooded, living weapon that is the entire purpose of this great procession resting calmly on your fist. The Duke gives a signal to the master of the hunt. A horn is blown. A single, clear, high note that echoes off the stone walls of the castle. The great gates are opened, and the entire colorful and noisy procession rides out over the drawbridge and towards the green open meadows that border the river. The long, quiet hours of preparation are over. The hunt is about to begin. The procession of the hunting party is a slow and magnificent affair. You, Alaric, ride near the front, just behind the Duke and the master of the hunt. Your position is one of honor and of intense focus. While the nobles around you laugh and chat, their minds on the sport and the social occasion, your mind is entirely on the bird that rests upon your fist. You ride with your left arm held steady, a living perch for the hooded falcon. Your body absorbs the gentle rocking gait of your horse, keeping your arm as still as possible, so that the falcon is not disturbed or agitated. You can feel the slight, constant adjustments of her talons on your thick leather gauntlet, her own body responding to the movement of the horse. You are, in this moment, a single, interconnected being, a fusion of man, horse, and hawk. The journey takes you out of the castle grounds, through the harvested, fallow fields of the surrounding farmland, and down towards the low-lying water meadows that border the great river. The air here is different, cooler, and it smells of damp earth, of wet reeds, and of the river itself. You arrive at the hunting grounds. It is a wide, flat expanse of marshland, a perfect habitat for the waterfowl that are your intended prey. The master of the hunt, a man who knows this land as well as you know your birds, brings the procession to a halt. Now the sport begins in earnest, and it is a thing of careful, almost military strategy. The master of the hunt directs the Duke and his noble guests to take up a position on a small, grassy knoll that overlooks the reed beds. A place that is upwind of the prey and will give them a perfect, unobstructed view of the sky. Then he gives a quiet signal to the dog handlers, the burners. They and their pack of excited water spaniels break off from the main party and begin a long, circling maneuver, making their way to the far downwind side of the great reed bed. They must enter the marsh from that direction, so that their scent and the sound of their movement will drive the birds towards the waiting party, not away from it. You, in the meantime, ride to your own carefully chosen position. You find a clear, open patch of ground between the nobles on the hill and the reed bed where the dogs will soon be at work. You need this open space. You need a clear view of the sky, and you need to ensure that when your falcon brings down its prey, it does so in a place where you can easily reach it. A deep, expectant quiet falls over the entire party. The laughter and the chatter of the nobles have ceased. The dogs are out of sight, but you know they are taking their positions. All eyes are now on you. The entire complex and expensive machinery of this noble hunt, the horses, the dogs, the handlers, the Duke and his guests is now waiting for a single, decisive action from you and the hooded silent bird that rests upon your fist. You make your final preparations. You check the leather jesses one last time, ensuring they are not tangled. You run a gentle hand over the falcon's smooth, feathered back, speaking to her in a low, soothing, and almost inaudible murmur. You can feel her, a low, powerful thrum of contained energy that travels from her body into your glove. She is no longer in a state of calm rest. She knows, with an ancient and predatory instinct, what is about to happen. She is ready. You hear a distant whistle. It is the signal from the master of the hunt. The dogs have entered the reeds. A moment later, you hear their excited yapping as they begin their work, crashing through the dense, watery thicket. The Duke, from his position on the knoll, gives you a single, sharp nod. It is time. You raise your gloved fist. With your right hand, you reach up and you take hold of the small leather braces of the falcon's hood. You do not snatch it off. The movement is a slow, smooth, and deliberate one. You are not just unhooding a bird. You are unleashing a hunter. You are releasing a living weapon. The training and the manning are complete. The long, quiet hours of preparation on your fist have all led to this single, pivotal moment. You slide the hood from her head. Her great dark eyes, suddenly exposed to the bright, open sky, are like two pieces of polished obsidian. For a fraction of a second, she takes in the world, her head turning, her incredible vision processing the entire landscape. And then she sees it. A great gray heron, startled by the dogs, is beginning its slow, lumbering ascent from the reeds. The hunt is on. The moment the hood is lifted, the world of the falcon, Lyra, explodes into a universe of light, of movement, and of singular predatory focus. For a fraction of a second, her dark, intelligent eyes process the entire scene, the open sky, the distant trees, the party of riders on the knoll, and then she sees it. The great gray heron, its long legs dangling, its massive wings beating with a slow, powerful, and almost clumsy rhythm as it rises from the reeds. There is no command given. There is no need for one. The training, the instinct, and the partnership between you and the hawk are now all that matter. With a powerful thrust of her yellow-scaled legs, she pushes off from your gloved fist. You feel the sudden, surprising lightness as she leaves, a familiar and thrilling emptiness on your arm. She is airborne. But she does not fly directly at the heron. That is not the way of the peregrine. A direct horizontal chase would be a contest of endurance, a race the larger, more powerful heron might even win. The falcon's great advantage, her ultimate weapon, is the sky itself. It is gravity. And to use gravity, she must first conquer it. She begins to climb. It is a process known as ringing up, and it is a sight of breathtaking beauty and power. With strong, steady, and efficient wing beats, she begins to carve great ascending circles into the air. She is not in a frantic hurry. Her flight is a model of conservation of energy, a patient, tactical ascent. You and the entire hunting party on horseback now move out across the meadow, your heads tilted back, your eyes fixed on the two birds as they begin their deadly vertical dance. The heron is not a witless victim. It knows it is being hunted. It, too, begins to climb, its great 7-foot wingspan beating against the air, trying to gain height to keep itself above its smaller, faster pursuer. For a peregrine, the attack must come from above, and the heron's only real defense is to prevent the falcon from ever gaining that crucial advantage. You watch the two birds, a rising, circling, counterclockwise spiral of hunter and hunted. Your own role is not a passive one. You are an active participant in this aerial battle. You shout words of encouragement to your hawk, your voice sharp and clear, a familiar and guiding sound in her world of wind and sky. Ow, Lyra. Ho, you cry, your voice a beacon, a point of connection between the earth and the heavens. The falcon continues her relentless spiraling ascent. She is now hundreds of feet above the heron, a tiny, dark cross against the pale autumn sky. She has reached her pitch, the position of ultimate tactical superiority. The heron, still laboriously climbing below her, is now almost directly beneath her. The moment has come. High in the sky, the falcon's circling stops. She seems to hang for a single motionless instant in the thin, cold air. Then she rolls over, tucks her wings into a tight, aerodynamic teardrop shape, and she begins her dive. She begins her stoop. It is as if she has been released from the very laws of flight. She is no longer a bird, but a stone, a missile, a living weapon of flesh and bone and feathers. Surrendering herself entirely to the pure, clean, and accelerating pull of gravity, the sound of her descent is a thing of awesome power. It begins as a low whisper, a gentle tearing of the air. But as her speed builds, it becomes a loud, roaring, and terrifying sound, the sound of the wind itself being ripped apart by her passage. She is now traveling at a speed that no other living creature can achieve, a blur of focused, deadly intent. The heron, seeing the attack coming, makes its own final, desperate move. It cannot outrun the stoop, but it can defend itself. At the last possible second, it flips over in the air, its great slow wings stalling, and it presents its own weapon to the sky. Its long, sharp, and dagger-like beak, a spear of living bone pointed directly at the heart of its attacker. It is the moment of greatest danger for your hawk. A slight miscalculation, a moment of imprecision, and she could be impaled on the heron's beak, the two birds falling from the sky, locked together in a mutual fatal embrace. You watch your heart in your throat. This is the moment that all the months of training, all the hours of manning, all the meticulous weighing and care have led to. It is a single, breathtaking instant of truth, a violent and beautiful collision of instinct and art, played out against the vast, silent, and utterly indifferent canvas of the sky. The stooping falcon, a dark and terrible arrow, is about to strike. In the final split second of her incredible dive, the falcon Lyra performs the feat of skill that is the culmination of all her training and all her instinct. She is not a mindless missile. She is an intelligent hunter. She sees the heron's sharp, upturned beak, the defensive spear aimed at her heart, and at the last possible moment, she makes a minute, almost imperceptible adjustment to her trajectory. She does not bind to the heron, does not attempt to grapple with it in midair. To do so would be suicidal. Instead, she strikes. She passes the heron in a blur of speed, and in that passing, she delivers a single, devastating blow with her hind talon balled up like a fist. The sound of the impact is a sickening, audible thump that carries all the way down to you on the ground. The great gray heron, its wing likely broken by the force of the collision, lets out a harsh, croaking cry. Its slow, majestic flight is shattered. It tumbles from the sky, no longer a bird, but a broken, flapping thing, and crashes into the dense green and brown thicket of the reed bed. Lyra, her momentum carrying her back up into the sky in a great graceful arc, does not follow it down. Her part in the initial assault is over. She pulls out of her dive and, with a few powerful wing beats, she resumes her high, circling position, waiting on once more. A patient and vigilant queen surveying her domain, waiting for her servants on the ground to complete their part of the bargain. Now, the second phase of the hunt begins, the work on the ground. The master of the hunt gives a sharp, clear whistle. It is the signal for the dogs. The water spaniels, who have been waiting with a quivering, barely contained excitement, are released. They bound into the marsh, their powerful bodies crashing through the shallow water and the tall reeds, their keen noses searching for the fallen prey. You, Alaric, Now spur your own horse into a gallop, riding hard towards the spot where you saw the heron fall. The Duke and his noble guests follow at a distance, their voices a chorus of excited praise for the magnificent stoop they have just witnessed. You reach the edge of the reed bed and dismount, your boots sinking into the soft, wet mud. The sound of the dogs is frantic now, a series of sharp, excited yaps. They have found it. You push your way through the tall, sharp-edged reeds following the sound. You find the dogs in a small, watery clearing. They have cornered the wounded heron. The great bird is not dead. It is leaning against a bank of reeds, its one good wing spread, its long serpentine neck coiled, its dagger-like beak ready to strike. It is a dangerous and formidable adversary, even now, capable of blinding a dog or a man with a single lightning-fast thrust. The dogs, with their innate training, do not attack it. They simply hold it at bay. They're barking a constant, harassing circle of pressure. This is your job. You draw the long, sharp knife from your belt. With a quiet word, you calm the dogs, and with a swift, practiced, and merciful motion, you dispatch the wounded bird. The hunt is over. But the most important part of your own work is not yet complete. The prey is secured, but your hawk, your precious living weapon, is still a circling speck 1,000 feet in the sky. Oh, you must call her down. This is the ultimate test of your bond. The moment where the wild creature must willingly choose to return from the boundless freedom of the sky to the small, tethered world of your fist. You step out of the reed bed and into the open meadow. You take the lure, the feathered tool of your trade, from your hawking bag. Attached to it is a small, fresh piece of the heron's meat, a rich and immediate reward. You begin to swing the lure, whirling it around your head on its long leather cord. And you call to her, your voice a high, clear, and familiar cry that cuts through the air. For a moment, nothing happens. Lyra continues her high, lazy circling. She is testing you, her wild spirit enjoying its last few moments of freedom. But then she turns, wings tilt, and she begins her descent. It is not the violent, plunging stoop of the attack. It is a graceful, controlled, and beautiful spiral, a gentle, descending dance. You watch her grow larger, her form resolving from a simple speck into the familiar, powerful shape of your hawk. As she approaches, you stop swinging the lure, and you lay it on the ground in the open. She makes one final low pass, her wings beating the air with a soft whoosh, and then she lands, with a surprising gentleness, upon the lure. She has returned. She stands on the lure, her talons gripping it, and she begins to tear at the small piece of meat you have left for her. While she is focused on her reward, you approach her slowly, murmuring your quiet words of praise. You kneel beside her, and with a gentle, confident motion, you gather the jesses in your gloved hand. She is secure. The partnership is complete. The Duke and his party ride up, their faces alight with the thrill of the successful hunt. They praise the falcon's speed, your own skill. You feel a deep, quiet, and profound satisfaction. The long, patient hours of the morning, the meticulous weighing, the slow manning, the repetitive training has all led to this, a single, perfect, and successful flight. You allow Lyra a few precious minutes to feast on her reward, the rich meat a just payment for her magnificent flight. This is the heart of your partnership, a bargain between your skill and her wild predatory instinct. When she is finished, you make a soft clucking sound with your tongue and with a gentle pressure on her talons. You coax her back onto your gloved fist. With your other hand, you take up her leather hood, the single, smooth, and practiced motion that you have performed 10,000 times. You slip the hood over her head, The darkness descends upon her once more. You feel her body relax, the fierce, predatory tension of the hunt instantly replaced by a quiescent, statuesque calm. Her great dark eyes are now hidden, and she is once again a still, quiet presence on your arm. The dance of the sky is over. An assistant takes the dead heron, the trophy of the day, its long neck and gray wings, now limp and lifeless. The Duke and his noble guests are full of praise, their voices loud and excited as they relive the incredible high-speed stoop they have just witnessed. For them, the day has already been a resounding success. But the afternoon is not yet over, and there's more sport to be had. The party moves on, leaving the river meadows and riding towards a different terrain. A patch of heathland and scrub. The prey here is different, and it requires a different kind of hawk. You hand the resting lyra to one of your assistants, and you take a different bird on your fist. This is a goshawk, a bird of the forest, not of the open sky. It is a different kind of hunter, a master of the short, explosive, and horizontal chase, where the peregrine is a master of the vertical dive. The dogs are sent into the thick gorse and bracken, and a moment later, a rabbit bursts from the cover. A blur of brown fur against the dry grass. Dum-dum-da-da-da-dum. You unhood the goshawk, and without a moment's hesitation, it launches from your fist in a low, flat, and incredibly fast pursuit. It does not climb. It hugs the contours of the ground, its broad, powerful wings pumping as it closes the distance with a terrifying speed. The chase is a brief, thrilling, and twisting affair, and it ends with the goshawk binding to its prey in a flurry of motion. After another successful flight, the sun is now hanging low on the horizon, its light a weak, golden wash over the autumn landscape. The master of the hunt sounds his horn. It is the signal to end the day's sport. The light is failing, and it is time to return to the castle. A mood of gentle, satisfied weariness settles over the hunting party. The nobles ride at a leisurely pace, their conversation a low, happy murmur. For them, the day is done. Their part in the ancient ritual of the hunt is complete. They have witnessed a fine display of sport. And now their minds are on the great feast that will be held in the castle's hall tonight, where the stories of this day's hunt will be told and retold. But for you, Alaric, the work is not yet over. It is never truly over. You ride with them, your horse moving at a slow, steady walk. On your fist, Lyra, now back in her place of honor, rests a calm, hooded statue. But your mind is on the quiet, essential rituals that still await you in the Muse. You are still in conversation with your bird. You can feel the steady, rhythmic grip of her talons on your glove, the evenness of her breathing. You can feel that she is calm, uninjured, and sated. As the great stone towers of the castle come into view, silhouetted against the deep orange and purple of the setting sun, you feel a quiet, profound sense of professional pride. It has been a perfect day. The birds have flown well. The hunt was successful. The Duke is pleased. You have performed your art, your mystery, to the best of your ability. You have walked a fine and delicate line all day, a line between the wild and the tame, between instinct and discipline. You have worked in partnership with a creature of the open sky, a creature that is, in its heart, a killer. The patience, your knowledge, and your deep, quiet respect for its nature, you have guided that wildness. You have channeled its deadly power, and you have brought it safely home. The hunting party rides back through the great gates of the castle just as the last of the light fades from the sky. The day of thrilling public spectacle is over. Now begins the final, quiet, and most important part of your day, the slow, gentle, and solitary work of the falconer in the hooded quiet of the mews at night. While the Duke and his noble guests make their way to the great hall, their minds alive with the thoughts of a hot meal of wine, and of retelling the stories of the day's successful hunt, your own path takes you away from the noise and the light of the main castle. You, Alaric, return to the quiet, familiar, and purposeful world of the mews. You slide open the heavy wooden door and step inside. The atmosphere is one of deep, profound, and settled peace. In the dim, golden light of the few oil lamps that have been lit against the gathering dark, you can see the silent, hooded forms of your hawks, each one resting peacefully on its designated perch. The only sound is the occasional soft jingle of a tiny brass bell as a bird shifts its weight. This is your sanctuary, a place of order and of quiet, far from the chaotic world of men. Your work for the day is not yet over. In many ways, the most important rituals are yet to come. The health, the spirit, and the continued partnership with your hawk depend on the quiet, careful routines of the evening. You walk to the perch where your assistant has placed Lyra, your prized peregrine. She is hooded and calm, but you can feel a low, expectant energy from her. She knows that the hunt is over and that the final reward is now due. First, you remove her jesses from the ring on her perch and coax her back onto your gloved fist. You take her to a separate, smaller perch in a quiet corner of the mews, a place reserved for feeding. You now remove her hood. Her great dark eyes, now accustomed to the dim light of the mews, are calm and focused. She is no longer the wild, aggressive hunter of the sky. She is now your partner, waiting for her due. Her meal is the final, crucial calculation of the day. The small tidbit she received on the lure was an appetizer, a reward for returning. Her main meal is her salary, the payment that ensures her loyalty and keeps her in perfect health. You have already prepared it, a portion of the meat from the heron she brought down. It's carefully selected to be nutritious and easily digestible. You place the portion of meat on your gloved fist. You do not simply give it to her. The feeding itself is a final, quiet moment of bonding and training. She must step from her perch back onto your fist to eat. As she eats, tearing at the meat with her sharp-hooked beak, you speak to her in a low, continuous, and soothing murmur. You watch her every movement, her every reaction. You watch the way her crop, the pouch in her throat, begins to fill. And from this you can gauge with an expert's eye exactly how much food she has consumed. This will determine her weight, and therefore her hunger for the morning. It is a constant, delicate, and ever-shifting balancing act. After she has eaten her fill, you perform another act of expert husbandry. You offer her a small, plucked bird's wing. She will not eat it, but she will work on it, pulling at the feathers. This is a way of cleaning her beak and satisfying her natural instinct to pluck her prey. And finally, you might give her a casting. It is a small pellet of indigestible material, like fur or feathers, wrapped in a piece of meat. She swallows it whole. This pellet will remain in her crop, and over the course of the night it will gather up any undigested food and slime. In the morning, she will regurgitate it as a clean, dry pellet, a process that scours and cleanses her digestive system from the inside out. The health and cleanliness of this cast pellet is one of the clearest indicators of her internal health. With the feeding complete, the final rituals of care begin. You take a soft, damp cloth and you gently, carefully wipe her beak clean of any remaining blood or meat. You then inspect her feet, her powerful yellow talons, cleaning them and checking for any cuts or scrapes she may have sustained during the violent conclusion of the hunt. You run your practiced hands over her breast, feeling the muscle, and you gently spread each of her magnificent slate-gray wings, inspecting every single one of her primary flight feathers for any sign of damage, a broken feather being a serious impediment to her flight. She is calm and accepting throughout this process, accustomed to your touch, to your gentle professional ministrations. Finally, you place her back on her main perch for the night. You offer her your fist, and she steps from it to the perch, the jesses now secured. And with one last smooth and gentle motion, you replace her hood. The darkness descends upon her once more. Her crop is full, her body is clean and cared for, and she is now ready for a long and restful night. Her day is complete. You have performed your duty. You have taken a wild, noble, and deadly creature of the sky, and you have, through a long and patient partnership, made it an extension of your own will. Your day, which began with this same bird in the darkness of the dawn, is now coming to its quiet, hooded conclusion. With Lyra, your prized peregrine, now hooded, fed, and settled for the night, your primary duties for her are complete. But you are the master of the Muse, and your responsibility is a quiet covenant that extends to every bird under this roof. You take your lantern, its single honey-colored flame, casting a gentle and wavering light, and you begin your final, silent tour of inspection. You walk slowly down the long central aisle of the building. Your own shadow, long and stooped, moves with you along the far wall, a silent, dark giant in this place of profound quiet. The Muse at night is a cathedral of stillness. The hooded birds are perfect, motionless silhouettes on their perches, each one a study in contained energy. The air is cool and smells of dry wood, of clean straw, and the faint, almost imperceptible scent of the birds themselves, a scent that is less like a farm and more like a library of ancient, feathered books. The only sound is the occasional soft tink of a tiny brass bell, a sound as pure and as clear as a drop of water falling in a deep well, as a sleeping bird makes a minute adjustment in its slumber. You stop at each perch, your practiced eye checking each feathered form. You pause by the perch of a powerful goshawk, a hunter of the deep woods. Even in his hooded sleep, he seems to possess a coiled, explosive energy, so different from the peregrine's aristocratic grace. You check the leather jesses on his legs, ensuring they are not too tight, not twisted. Further down, you stop by the perch of a young merlin, a small and spirited hawk still in the early stages of his training. You can feel a faint, nervous tremor that travels from his body up the perch and into the floorboards. You place a gentle, steadying hand on his back for a moment, and you murmur a single, low, soothing word. The trembling subsides. They are not simply a collection of assets for the Duke. They are your charges, a dozen different personalities, a complex and demanding family of feathered predators whose fears and whose comforts you have come to know as intimately as your own. Satisfied that all is well, you make your way to the great wooden door of the Muse. You extinguish your lantern, and with a final soft click, you slide the heavy iron bolt into place, securing your quiet kingdom for the night. You stand for a moment in the cold, clear, and star-filled darkness of the castle courtyard. From the great hall across the bailey, you can hear the distant, muffled sounds of celebration. the high, clear notes of a harp, the booming laughter of the Duke's guests, the rhythmic clapping of a song. A warm yellow light spills from its high arched windows, and the wind carries the faint, rich, savory scent of roasted meat and mulled wine. That is their world. A world of noise, of light, of men. This, the dark, silent courtyard, the cool, still air, the sleeping presence of your birds behind the bolted door, this is your world. You turn and walk not towards the celebration, but towards your own humble quarters, a small stone room built against the outer wall of the mews itself. Your room is a simple, functional space, a monk's cell dedicated to a different kind of devotion. It smells of leather, of the wax you use on your threads, and the faint, ever-present musky scent of the birds. There is a simple rope bed, a wooden chest for your clothes, and a small table and a stool. Your only decoration is a single, perfect, molted peregrine feather tucked into a crack in the wall. It is a solitary life, but it is not a lonely one, for your mind is always in silent conversation with your birds. Your own simple evening meal is waiting for you, a piece of dark bread, a wedge of hard cheese, and a strip of salted beef. You sit at your small table and you eat slowly, your movements filled with a deep and profound weariness. Your body is a single, unified ache from the long hours on horseback and on your feet. Your mind, which all day has been in a state of intense, unwavering focus, is finally allowed to soften, to rest. As you eat, you reflect on the strange and unique path of your life. You are a servant, bound to the will of your Duke, but you are a master of a mystery, a great and noble art, a man whose skills are rare, respected, and highly valued. You are not a farmer tied to the soil. You are not a knight bound by the code of chivalry and war. You are a man who walks a strange and quiet line between the civilized, ordered world of the castle and the wild, instinctual, and untamable world of the sky. Your life is a constant, quiet dialogue with a creature that can never be truly tamed, only understood. Your partnership with your hawk is not one of domination, but of a deep and mutually beneficial bargain. You provide for all her needs, food, shelter, safety, and care. And in return, she allows you, a simple, earthbound man, a brief and glorious access to her world of the sky, to her speed, to her power, and to her fierce, predatory grace. When your meal is finished, you do not immediately go to bed. You take up a broken leather jess, and, by the light of a single tallow candle, you begin the quiet, rhythmic work of mending it. You take a fine awl and a needle with a waxed linen thread. The small, repetitive motions of stitching the leather are a final, calming meditation, a way to bring the day to a slow and gentle close. You look at your gauntlet, which lies on the table, its leather dark and scarred from the grip of 100 different talons. It is the symbol of your life, a life of patience, of discipline, and of a strange and beautiful partnership. You are a man who speaks a language without words, a language of weight, of trust, and of silent, shared intent. You finish your mending. You put away your tools. A deep, final wave of exhaustion washes over you. You look out your small, barred window at the great, silent, star-filled sky, the vast and empty arena where your hawk danced her deadly ballet today. Your long and deeply satisfying day is over. You lie on your simple straw mattress, a profound stillness settling over you. The days-long labor, the hours on horseback, the tension of the hunt, the focused, quiet work of the evening, all of it culminates in a weariness so deep it feels like a physical weight, a heavy, welcome blanket. It is not the troubled, anxious exhaustion of a man whose mind is filled with worldly concerns. It is the pure, clean, and honest fatigue of a body that has worked hard and of a mind that is at peace with its purpose. Your sleep is a deep and dreamless ocean, a place of simple, profound, and necessary rest. Outside your small room, the castle is a great sleeping beast of stone, its courtyards empty, its towers dark silhouettes against a canopy of cold, brilliant stars. And next to your own quarters, the Mews is a sanctuary of absolute feathered silence. The moonlight, filtering through the high, narrow windows, paints long, pale rectangles on the floor. It touches the soft, downy breasts of the sleeping hawks, making their plumage gleam with a soft, ethereal light. They are a row of perfect living statues, each one a study in contained power. The peregrines, with their sharp, aristocratic profiles, sleep with a noble stillness. The goshawks, broader and more powerful, seem more earthbound even in their sleep. They are creatures of two worlds, the wild, untamable spirit of the open sky and the disciplined, ordered world of the Mews. Their lives are a constant, managed paradox, and you are the keeper of that delicate, paradoxical balance. Your mind, even in the depths of sleep, is never far from them. Your dreams are not of men, but of the sky. You dream in flashes of sensation, the feeling of the hawk's powerful, gripping talons on your glove, the breathtaking rush of wind as she stoops, the sight of a blur of feathers against a vast blue emptiness. Your life is so intertwined with theirs that even your unconscious mind speaks the language of flight. As you rest, your thoughts drift back over the day and over the years. You remember your prized falcon, Lyra, not as the perfect hunter of today, but as she was when she first arrived. A wild, terrified fledgling, an Oz, taken from a cliffside nest. You remember the infinite patience of the first weeks, the process of manning, the long, slow hours of simply sitting with her in the dim light of the Mews, your gloved fist held steady, waiting for her to make the first tentative hop from the perch to your hand. You remember the first time she took a piece of meat from your fingers without fear, a small, momentous victory in a long and silent battle of wills. You contrast this relationship, built on a foundation of patience, respect, and a deep, intuitive understanding of a wild creature's nature, with the world of the Duke's court which you observe from a respectful distance. That world is one of flattery, of shifting alliances, of words that hide their true meaning. It is a world you are glad to not be a part of. Your relationship with your hawk is simpler and more honest. She cannot be flattered. She cannot be deceived. She responds only to consistency, to fairness, and to the clear, unspoken language of trust. In many ways, she is the most honest creature you have ever known. You think, too, of the profound fragility of your craft. Today was a perfect day, but you know that such days are a gift, not a guarantee. You have known days when a sudden violent hailstorm has descended during a hunt, forcing a desperate and dangerous flight for shelter. You have known the cold, sickening dread of watching a beloved hawk, weakened by a sudden illness, refuse her food. And you carry the quiet, permanent scar of the memory of a young falcon years ago, lost to a great eagle, a silent, predatory shadow that appeared from nowhere and vanished with your precious charge. This is the other side of the falconer's life, a constant, low-level anxiety, a knowledge that the wildness you partner with can never be truly owned and can be lost in a single, heartbreaking instant. This knowledge is what fuels your meticulous care, your obsessive attention to every detail of the bird's health and well-being. But tonight, there are no such worries. The birds are safe. The hunt was a success. As you lie in the quiet darkness, you feel the deep, steady rhythm of your own breathing. A rhythm that is in harmony with the sleeping castle, with the silent, hooded birds, and with the great, slow turning of the stars in the sky above. In a few short hours, the first stirrings of the dawn will begin. The great bell of the castle will ring for the morning prayers, and the entire slow, sacred, and simple cycle of your life will begin anew. Your long and patient day is over. Our journey with the medieval falconer is now at an end. We have heard the jingle of the tiny bells, felt the weight of the hawk on the fist, and witnessed the breathtaking dance of the sky. It was a world where a partnership was forged between man and a wild predator, where patience was the ultimate virtue, and where 1,000 hours of quiet care were the price of a single, perfect moment of flight. That world of leather hoods, of silent mews, and of the rushing wind beneath a falcon's wings has now faded away, leaving only the quiet of the present moment. The falconer's long and patient day is over. Now so is yours. There is nothing left to do but to rest, to let go of the day, and to drift into the deep and peaceful sleep that you deserve. Sleep well.